Hello and welcome back to my channel. The topic of this week's astrology forecast is "With great power comes great responsibility." And we will be covering the big intense event of the week, which is Mars conjunct Pluto on Valentine's of all days. It's going to be a doozy. So definitely stay tuned. I'm going to give the scoop of the general astrology for everyone, the quality of time, so to say. And then I'm going to get into individualized horoscopes for all 12 signs. So I'm Erin, I'm Queen Bee Tarot. I'm like that friend that shows up in times of need with the tarot cards and the astrology and the ideas and the answers and everything. It is my goal to empower, enlighten, and uplift. And I'm so glad that you're here. It is my goal with these horoscopes to give you an idea of what to expect. I think the best thing about astrology is just the realization, like, okay, it's not just me. There's a vibe, there's something happening in the air. And when we know to expect intense and volatile weeks like this, it actually helps a lot because we can avoid challenging situations. We can take a step back and go, oh, wait a minute, seen this before, done this before, I don't want to do this again. And that's entirely the theme of the planetary party that is moving into Aquarius right now. When the sun moves into any sign, Venus and Mercury are going to be really close behind. They're going to be within a sign or two because they have such close orbits. But adding to the planetary party that would already be happening, Mars is going to move into Aquarius this week. Venus is, and Mercury is already there. So there's a sense of focused energy in the sign of Aquarius, really amplifying all the themes that Aquarius brings. Aquarius is an air sign known for intellectualism and also a streak of being an inventor, a visionary, someone who sees beyond what already exists. And it's an energy of thinking outside the box, seeing the bigger picture, making decisions that benefit everyone, and having a long-term healthy goal in mind that benefits the greater good, basically. So all those songs sung about the age of Aquarius, anytime we have a planetary party in Aquarius, we're definitely going to get that kind of vibe. What complicates things is that at the same time as we as a collective are being challenged to embody the qualities of Aquarius, we have some planetary angles happening this week that are going to essentially test us and trigger us. That's just one way of looking at things. You know, astrology only holds potential. And I really want to illustrate this a point because nobody at any point is forced to go through any experience or respond to an experience in a particular way. Astrology brings potential. It's like a weather report. It might say in the weather report that it's going to rain, but whether or not you choose to go outside with or without an umbrella, that's up to you, right? So we always have free will. Astrology can give the potential of being near the ocean, but it's your choice whether or not you're going to go swimming. So when we show potential, it's a vibe. I can guarantee you that the vibe is going to be intense this week, but then it's up to us how we respond to that. And then depending on what your astrological sign is, the energy is going to affect you in a different way. And that's why the individualized horoscopes are fun. So we're responding differently. We're looking at the bigger picture. We're definitely being tested. And what's happening is Mars, the planet of action, the planet that's kind of like a bulldozer when it gets fired up, is going to be forming a 90-degree angle called a square to Pluto. And Pluto is power, Pluto is control, and a square is a really intense situation that often causes energetic friction. So Mars is going to be in the first degrees. Oh no, it's not a square. Oh my goodness, it's a conjunction. Glad I realized that right away. A square. So let me back up a second. Mars is joining Pluto in the first degrees of Aquarius. I'm sorry. And when Mars joins Pluto, it's action, it's power, it's control, all packed into a tiny little ball. And so we as individuals are going to feel a feeling like we are deeply empowered, but in a sense that like fire is flowing through our veins. Now, because this conjunction is happening in the first degrees of Aquarius, we are invited to think about all these Aquarian themes with the understanding that we're brand new at this. It's just the beginning degrees of Aquarius. And so we are going to essentially have all this fire energy pumping through us in the middle of the week. And we're going to be tested in ways that we've probably been tested before, with challenges we've definitely experienced before, but the potential, the opportunity is to respond differently. So when Mars joins Pluto and they sit next to each other in the sky, there's a power that comes from deep within. You may find that you have a shadow or a triggered response to things, and it's actually going to take a lot of work to disengage from the emotion, take a step back and go, okay, wait a minute, how can I empower myself without bulldozing this situation? How can I stay true to my values and my beliefs and stand up for myself, but at the same time not hurt anyone else, not take away from anyone else? So there's a lot of questions of values and embodying these values, because the other major thing that's happening at the beginning of next week is that Chiron, Pluto's moon, known in astrology as the wounded healer, is going to make an exact conjunction to the North Node, which is our collective karmic destiny. So I can't stress this enough. This week is going to be really, really challenging, but it also has the opportunity to be life-changing if we are able to snap out of some ruts that we're in, any karmic patterns, any habitual responses. And a lot of it, for some people, shadow work, we can't talk about shadow work without talking about trauma work. The reason we have shadow responses to things is partly sometimes because of undeveloped ego and a lack of emotional awareness. But the other part of it is that we develop shadow responses because of trauma. So if we've had trauma in which we were disempowered, then our trauma response, our shadow response, is going to be to freeze, flight, fight, or fawn. And when we have those trauma responses brought up in us, in our awareness this week, it's not going to be easy, right? And if you find that you're really, really struggling, please reach out to a trusted contact, a crisis line, a supportive friend, or a counselor, because this is going to be an amazing week for working through some of these really challenging concepts. But I'm not going to lie, it's going to be hard, right? So when Mars joins Pluto, because Mars is moving faster than Pluto, we're having an opportunity to heal some of the deepest wounds in our lives. The Mars-Pluto conjunction is going to be happening in Aquarius, and then the North Node Chiron conjunction is happening in Aries. They are 2 signs apart, which is a sextile, which is a supportive opportunity. So it's going to be hard, but it's also going to be a pathway to healing. So as much as Chiron represents our greatest pain in this lifetime, it also represents the path to healing it. When our trauma responses or our shadow responses are brought up, with it is an opportunity to heal. So my biggest piece of advice, something that really, really helps me, the reason I love astrology so much is because it's helped me heal so much. And one of the biggest things I love about astrology is how as soon as you notice a pattern, like I've been through this before, I've experienced this feeling before, then we can kind of mark that and be like, okay, what were the contributing factors? And so that helps us look at it as a puzzle instead of some aspect of us being broken. So to be able to take the observer role is really important. To say, I am deeply affected by my trauma, or I am deeply affected by themes of empowerment, but I am always going to be an evolving individual. This is just something I'm going through. So the North Node, I just briefly mentioned that a second ago, the Chiron's matching up with the North Node, and I was talking about how it represents our collective karmic destiny. We have 2 eclipses coming up, you guys. One is on March 25th and one is on April 9th, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. And they're going to be 2 weeks apart. I know for sure the March 25th one. And we are being prepped to embody this karmic growth. The eclipses happen on an axis of 2 zodiac signs. And right now the eclipses are happening where the North Node is in Aries and the South Node in Libra. Collectively, on a karmic level, we are invited to embody Aries qualities, which is the warrior associated with Mars, and leave behind Libra qualities associated with balance and looking after other people, which almost sounds counterintuitive. And as an astrologer, I was kind of trying to work my brain around that one and be like, okay, how could fighting for me be better than looking out for we? And then it clicked. You know how if you've been on an airplane and they give the safety announcement, one of the things that they say is that if the oxygen masks drop down and there's some sort of an emergency, put your mask on before helping other people. That's the essence of North Node Aries, South Node Libra. It may sound counterintuitive, but sometimes we do more damage in our lives and to ourselves or the people we love by putting them first instead of putting us first. Because sometimes we have to make sure our cup is full before we give to others. We have to put our mask on before helping others. If we give and give and give and help and heal and do all these different things, but we don't help and heal ourselves, we're going to end up feeling resentful, depleted, and angry, and still unhealed. So the essence of the nodes and the eclipses being on the Aries-Libra axis for the next year, year and a half, is all about how can I heal myself in order to better help the people around me. How am I potentially making things hard for myself by putting myself last on a list and prioritizing the needs and the feelings and the thoughts of other people? So it is a bit of a healthy level of selfish that we're all invited to do, and that is going to come to a peak or be brought to our awareness with crystal clear clarity this week. Any ways in which we need to embody that theme of karmic growth, those things are going to be brought to our awareness. But then, of course, we have free will. We can face them or we can run away from them. It's entirely up to us, right? So this week, today, Sunday, February 11th, the moon is in Pisces. And I had put on my little horoscopes, I don't know if you guys follow me on Facebook and Instagram, but I do these 2-minute little astrology and tarot card readings in the mornings. And what I was saying about today, it's dreamy, it's inspired, it's creative, it's intuitive. It took me forever to get my butt in gear to make this video today because I was just like, ooh, squirrel. But that's the beauty of a moon in Pisces kind of day, especially if it's a Sunday. So if you are able to recharge your batteries today, you're really going to need your energy through the week. Monday, the moon moves into Aries, so it's going to be a boost from the flowing like water energy of Pisces on Sunday to like fire on Monday. Aries is going to be like, whoa, I've had an extra cup of coffee. So Monday is going to be a good boost of get up and go energy, not too much happening on an astrological level, just like a let's get this bread kind of Monday. Tuesday, the moon is still in Aries. And we have Mars move into Aquarius. So an introduction of, okay, I'm on a roll, but I'm also feeling like peaceful. I'm also feeling like pretty good, calm, but assertive. Venus sextile Neptune on Tuesday, so definitely another peaceful day on Tuesday. If you have anything that you need to get done that's going to require being calm and focused and on point with your details, definitely do it Monday or Tuesday. It's going to be the best opportunity. Wednesday, Mars conjunct Pluto. So all of a sudden we will experience this like channeling of electric, almost excessive energy through our bodies, our awareness on Wednesday, a sense that we are empowered, but our ego is going to be turned up to the max. Our sensitivity in the sense of being triggered or bothered by other people turned up to the max. We may be overreactive, we may be impulsive. It is not a good day to put yourself in a dangerous situation. It is not a good day to pick a fight with a bear, that kind of a thing. Don't poke the bear on Wednesday. Because, Wednesday is Valentine's Day. Not everybody likes Valentine's Day. In fact, probably a vast majority of people either don't care about it or are bothered by it. And it's a really triggering day when commercialism really flaunts this whole you're only going to be happy if you're in a relationship kind of thing. And if you're in a relationship, you're only truly loved if your partner goes all out and buys you a whole bunch of crap. It's a really awful commercialized day where the original goal was to share love and celebrate love with people with maybe a little well thought out note or something like that. So just keep that in mind, whether you're in a partnership or not in a partnership. Wednesday, you may take things the wrong way, or your partner may take things the wrong way. If you are in a partnership and you have any expectations as to how the day should go in your mind, please be 100% crystal clear with your communication. Tell your partner what you're expecting or hoping for, and have open conversations. Like, it's definitely a day where people will be like, I didn't get the thing that I wanted, or I don't feel loved, or it's just a really triggering day. So just keep that in mind, okay? And another thing I wanted to mention, because it's going to be a very like F this S HIT kind of day. If you want to make plans with a partner or something like that, Saturday is going to have much better energy if you want to put things off until then. But anyway, yeah, power struggles, ego issues on Wednesday. It's going to be wild. Duck and cover. If you're in customer service, just keep in mind people are just going to be in a mood today. As much as you can, insulate yourself with the understanding it's just the vibe that day. Thursday is kind of like an aftermath, WTF just happened kind of day. A drop off with the energy, but the moon in Taurus is going to join Jupiter and Uranus. So it may be a day of being like, you know what, I'm just going to break up with them, or feeling uncomfortable about some sort of argument or disagreement you got in the day before. Wild energy on Thursday, a sense of impetuousness. The way in which, like, if a 3-year-old gets in trouble and they're like, I'm not sorry, that's the vibe of Thursday. So really volatile energy Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday is kind of that aftermath of like reconsideration, contemplation. Might want to be off by yourself and kind of like let yourself burn through some of these like ego narratives happening in your consciousness before you actually go have a conversation with someone. It's a great day to write something out a few times and get your words right before accidentally just blurting something out. Definitely a desire for change on Thursday. And so if for any reason you put any weight on Valentine's Day as far as an indication of the status or the quality of your relationship, I urge you to consider what your standards are and why you have them. Because there's definitely a vibe of like people getting angry on Wednesday and maybe some sort of blowout argument or breakup around Wednesday, Thursday. But what happens later in the week is a moment of being like, oh my God, that's a pattern that I live. That was a projection from my own fears and insecurities. By the time we get to Friday, there's a sense of like post-argument clarity where we see the truth of who we are and how we responded, how we fed into a situation, how it wasn't entirely the other person's fault. So there's kind of two roads that the week can go. If you find yourself in a blowout argument, like maybe just hit the pause button and be like, you know what, let's just do this another time. Or maybe you'll be able to avoid this energy entirely by noticing, by being aware, by being like, oh, I'm not even going to have that conversation right now, or I'm not going to get into this right now, or learning that we need to be clear, because this is a week of like people jumping to conclusions or making assumptions. So sometimes the best way to avoid these things is to be absolutely clear with our communication, with our expectations, everything. Friday, moon moves into Gemini in the middle of the day. For the first half of the day, the moon is void, of course, and it's not a good time to make major decisions. It's not a good time to sign any kind of contracts or anything like that. Friday morning, loosey-goosey. In the middle of the day, the moon moves into Gemini, and that's when the quickening happens, being like, oh, what came over me the past few days? Like, whoa, man, you know, and just like coming to absolute clarity about like, okay, there are two sides to this situation. There were two players in this situation. I am just as much at fault as the other person, if not maybe more. Those kinds of realizations on Friday. Venus moves into Aquarius on Friday. It's emotional distancing. It's realizing that you need to have a healthy distance between yourself and loved ones. It's realizing that you can't put all of your expectations in a partner to have them make you happy or have them make you feel better or meet all of your needs emotionally, physically. Like, a lot of realizations of how to be a better person, we have to meet our own needs. To be a better person in relationships, in life, professionally, anything, we have to take care of ourselves first and not have any unreasonable expectations of the people or the world around us. Yeah, self-soothing on Friday, but also on Friday we have Mercury square Uranus, the sense that our headspace quickens. We may feel overwhelmed, or we may be feeling supercharged with inspiration. It kind of depends on how you handle the energy. It's gonna feel like an ADD person's brain feels kind of all the time. Like 50 tabs open, music coming from somewhere, ideas floating through your consciousness. Yeah, Friday is going to be like, whoa, I've come back to reality. Inspired, active, wanting to do all the things. Really, really strange week, you guys. And then on Saturday, the moon will still be in Gemini and Venus joins Pluto. Saturday is, like I was saying, is probably a better day for a date night than Wednesday is, but there is still a really high risk of truth bombs. However, on Saturday, even though we will still be compelled to tell the brutal, honest truth about how we feel about someone or something, we will be able to deliver any messages in a gentler way on Saturday. Wednesday, it's going to be no holds barred and not using our best language. But Saturday, if you do need to have any kind of conversations, especially if you had realizations through the week, Saturday is going to be easier to choose your words carefully and deliver them in a way that also appropriately takes responsibility for your part in a situation. In the middle of the week, it's going to be you. By the end of the week, it's going to be, oh yeah, me too. So yeah, that's your scoop for the astrology this week. Definitely pretty wild. I'm going to get into the individualized horoscopes for all 12 signs now. We're going to be looking at how the Mars-Pluto conjunction is going to affect your sign. These are written for sun signs and rising signs. I am going to give a brief run through of the moon's movement through Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini this week. And then we're also going to look at the Mercury square Uranus quickening of the mind at the end of the week and how that's going to affect you. So starting with Aries, Sun, and Rising, the Mars-Pluto conjunction is going to be happening in your 11th house this week. So right around Wednesday, give or take, it's a strong energy, you might feel it earlier. There's going to be a sense that you are more inspired to be active in your community. Now that might be triggered by noticing someone being disempowered. It might be one of those moments where you're like, oh my God, with great power comes great responsibility. With my position of privilege, I can help someone who has nothing, or I can give a voice to someone who is too tired to speak. Or you're going to feel inspired in a way that you realize your own power and you think of a need or a place in the community where you could be useful, either through your voice, your creativity, or simply your personal power or your presence. So Wednesday for you guys is actually going to be pretty empowering. The potential risk is noticing other people behaving erratically or other people behaving impulsively. You're going to want to be careful. Just kind of noticing other drivers when you're out there throughout the week, basically, because the action is happening in your 11th house, you're more likely to be affected by something happening in your community or something happening in your neighborhood. The moon's going to be moving through your 12th, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd houses. So at the beginning of the week, you're going to feel pretty empowered, maybe a little raw, maybe a little emotional. But by the end of the week, you're going to feel like business is rolling, communication is happening, like you're on your game. So pretty good week for you guys, Aries, Sun, and Rising. Now, the Mercury-Uranus square happening at the end of the week, bringing a quickening for you, is an opportunity. You're going to have either calls or ideas for like meetings at work. The end of the week is going to be meeting with the people you are connected to, either to talk about money, to talk about resources, to talk about time, to talk about plans or values. And it might actually be hard for you to kind of gather people to talk about these things that you value or talk about these things you want to manifest. But I do feel you kind of reaching out to the collective by the end of the week, and it's possible it's because you're going to want to advance an idea or an inspiration that occurred to you towards the beginning of the week. So Aries, your theme of using your power wisely is using your privilege or your status or simply your brute strength perhaps to help someone else that really, really needs it. You're going to recognize where and when and how you might be able to use your power wisely for the benefit of other people. Pretty good week for you guys. Oh, and then the last thing, Chiron conjunct North Node starting next week is going to be happening in your sign. So there's a sense that you are realizing that you are healed. You're going to have opportunities to help other people going through things either that you went through or similar to what you went through. You know, for example, if you grew up in poverty, as this conjunction happens over the next week or so, you're going to be realizing, oh my gosh, I have money. I can donate to the food bank. I can help, you know, kids at my local school get school supplies or whatever it is. So there's going to be a sense for you guys, especially over the next week, but extending into the year, realizing all the ways in which you can see yourself as a healed individual and then start to kind of hold the light out for others who really need that guidance or that support with personal meaning. So really cool stuff. Okay, Taurus, Sun and Rising. The Mars-Pluto conjunction happening for you guys this week is going to happen in your 10th house. And for you guys, it can possibly be experienced as a test within your career or your long-term goals. And it's likely something you're going to take personally. It's going to be a sense that somebody above you, some sort of superior or some sort of red tape or some sort of restriction or rule, you're going to feel like you're up against a glass ceiling. And you're gonna get mad about it. You're gonna either have a reflection or a realization that you've gone through the same kind of BS before, or this particular boss keeps getting in your way, or every time you try and get ahead, there's some sort of new problem, or so you're gonna feel like you're just bumping against a brick wall, and you're gonna be really bothered by it, and that's where the road splits for you. If you get lost in your emotional response, you're going to get stuck in a loop and you're going to repeat whatever karmic pattern is happening. But if you're able to take a step back and be like, okay, wait a minute, how is this a repeating pattern and how can I use my awareness of this pattern to respond differently, to approach this from a different way, or to find a side door into this realm that I want to be in. So as the moon moves this week through your 11th, 12th, 1st, and 2nd houses, there's going to be a sense that you feel really bothered by something totally out of your control. You're going to feel like a David and Goliath kind of moment, like you're up against the machine or you're up against a brick wall or a unmoving boss or something like that. And you know, towards the middle of the week, you're not really going to know what to do about it. You're going to feel emotional. You're going to have a hard time processing those emotions. But then by the end of the week, you're going to have a light bulb moment and be like, I know who to ask for help. I'm going to call a friend, or I'm going to explore this technicality, or you're going to have a moment of being like, wait a minute, I can find a way around this obstacle. So by the end of the week, when Mercury squares Uranus, it's going to be happening in your 10th and your first houses, so career and identity. And it's going to be a moment of realizing how, when, and where to use your power in a way that advances your interests, that helps you accomplish your goals. But instead of brute force against a brick wall, you're going to think of a clever fox in the hen house kind of way to be able to get where you want to go. It's going to be a brilliant solution. So if you feel like you're approaching whatever it is that's pissing you off in the exact same way that you always did, that's a clue that you need to think of it completely differently. Turn your perspective completely upside down, and empower yourself to release from any core beliefs that you've held for such a long time that you forgot they're not your own thoughts. There's something about your headspace, something that feels hidden or mysterious to you that is being invited to be healed. And it feels like a long-standing, deeply held core belief in which you believe that you cannot achieve success because this, and this obstacle will always exist. Or being a female in a male-dominated world means I will never be able to do this. So think about ways in which you use always or never statements. And allow yourself to question yourself, to be like, is that even true though? Is that even real? I bet there's exceptions to that rule, or whatever the case may be. So definitely an emotional week for you guys, but an opportunity to unlock some sort of deeply held perspective or belief that is actually part of why you haven't been able to see your way around this obstacle. So I hope that makes sense, you guys. You've got this though. This is definitely has the potential for you to achieve a new level of empowerment in a way that you're really, really proud of. So go get it, Taurus. Gemini, Sun and Rising. The Mars-Pluto conjunction is happening for you in the 9th house. And the 9th house is about new territory, new opportunities, new information, and new ways of seeing and believing possibility and opportunity. So there's a sense of being empowered that helps you achieve a breakthrough. That's really the nature of the 9th house. To have this really empowering energy in the 9th house helps you blow past any restrictions or obstacles or problems that you've been having in the realm of wanting to get where you're going or try something new. So it's going to be a breakthrough idea or a breakthrough opportunity to take action. It may be, if you've been looking for work, it could be a supervisor opportunity that you might have never considered before because you were always just one of the minions. But you're going to see this opportunity and be like, maybe I'll just go for it, right? And you shoot for the stars and holy smokes, that ends up being your pathway to gainful employment. So there's something in which you are going to be given an opportunity to empower yourself to accomplish a goal, but it's going to be a step up from what you would have usually considered. Something that you consider like out of your league or, oh, I don't know about that. But instead of questioning, instead of holding yourself back, instead of doubting, just go, F it, let's try. What's the worst that could happen? They could say no. But if they say yes, it's life-changing, right? So there is an exit door opening up for you for whatever it is that you've been really struggling against, but you do need to think outside the box. You do need to give yourself permission to try something either totally different or totally new. It may feel like a whim, right? But it's going to be really cool. The moon is going to move through your 10th, 11th, 12th, and 1st houses this week. So you're going to be feeling emotional about your long-term goals in the beginning of the week. But by the middle of the week, when you have this empowering opportunity, you're going to start dreaming in a way that you haven't before. Your imagination's going to get unlocked. By Friday, you might be feeling a bit weepy and emotional, like you've kind of been through some sort of like energetic experience that leaves you like, whoa, what was that? But almost like you're channeling an idea this week. Really interesting how the Mars-Pluto is going to come through. And then Mercury square Uranus at the end of the week, the quickening moment of kind of having a whole bunch of ideas come through and inspiration come through, but also emotions. You're going to be challenged to question what you think and question what you believe, especially if this opportunity comes up that's out of your league or more than what you ever would have considered yourself capable for. By the end of the week, you're going to be like, why not? why couldn't it be me? Why, I could totally do that. Wait a minute, why didn't I think that I could do that? So you're going to start questioning the reasons why you never aimed so high before. You're going to be questioning why you set low standards or low expectations for yourself and others. And it's not necessarily only in career, it could be friendships, it could be personal life, it could be anything at all that you're thinking about. You're going to be questioning the reasons why you stayed in one place or one perspective for so long. So it's going to be a very freeing week. And the Chiron North Node conjunction happening in your 11th house is potentially an opportunity as well opening up for you where you could find meaningful work where you're able to kind of represent yourself or your journey, especially a healing journey, physical healing, emotional, mental healing, and get out in your community and maybe even share your story, inspire somebody, or simply be present to support somebody else's journey. So there is an opportunity for you to kind of step out of what you would consider to be traditional roles in career, in life, in your community, and start to embrace some form of either magic or ingenuity or creativity that you might have been too shy or too hesitant to do before. So new opportunities, be brave. Cancer, Sun and Rising. The Mars-Pluto conjunction is going to be happening on Wednesday in your 8th house of karma, life, death, rebirth, profound experiences, and repeating patterns. There's going to be a sense that you feel like WTF is this, but it almost feels like the decision to laugh instead of cry. Like witnessing something happen or seeing a repeating pattern and just having a moment of being like, this is so unbelievably ludicrous. Like, I'm just going to laugh about this. Like, this is like, and then I feel this kind of weight being lifted off of your chest where either you decide to not take somebody else too seriously, or maybe you decide to not take life too seriously or yourself too seriously. You just kind of go, whatever, none of us are getting out of here alive, you know, and it feels like a switch. Instead of crying and turning it into laughing. So I'm really excited for you guys. The moon's going to be moving through your 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th houses. So there's a sense of really throughout the week delving into this mysterious and kind of magical energy and feeling this week almost like life is surreal. Life is a dream. Life is so wacky you couldn't even make this stuff up. But in this profound and ethereal experience that you're going to have this week with the feeling like the energies are just swirling around you, to almost have this really freeing realization where you're like, none of this is even real. Like, I could just have fun. I could just be silly. I could be so much less worried what other people think because I don't really care what they think anyway. Some sort of really freeing experience that helps you unlock from some sort of repeating pattern, some sort of life or death situation, some sort of profound up and down roller coaster that you found yourself locked in. You're going to have a moment of being like, oh my God, this is just a carnival and I'm on the ride. So however that manifests for you is going to be different. It's going to be personal. It's going to be interesting. And as you're invited to kind of like think in a different way and perceive in a different way and imagine possibilities in a different way, there's going to be almost this sense of like, God, wouldn't it be so nice if all of us could figure this out and all of us could live in this like freer kind of mentality. So it's like as you go through some sort of awakening or realization this week, you're going to be looking for other people that have realized this thing too or experienced this thing too. It's really interesting, like the Chiron North Node conjunction happening for you guys is in your 10th house. So all this wacky up and down, intense and emotional and profound energy that your sign has been experiencing recently is all leading to kind of this peak moment of, I can heal my future. I can heal my long-term plans. I can be at peace. with where my life is going. Even if it's a multi-dimensional dumpster fire phoenix, I can be at peace with that. And so somehow learning or reaching a place where you're able to just like let it go. It's beautiful to see the release of heaviness, and it's interesting to see that the release of heaviness for you is going to come at a time where you felt like you couldn't feel any heavier. And then somehow it just gets lifted through a realization or a laughing fit or something that makes you just go, wow, this is so unbelievably ridiculous. Okay, anything goes. And if anything goes, anything goes. I hope that makes sense. Good luck this week, Cancer. And remember, don't take especially other people too seriously. Just remember that people are lost in their own dream and they don't see any more clearly than the rest of us. We're all lost in a dream, right? Okay. Leo, Sun and Rising. The Mars-Pluto conjunction happening for you guys is going to happen in your 7th house. And so there's a sense that you will witness somebody else being dark or controlling or empowered or lost in their shadow. And it's going to be a really triggering moment in which you may be compelled to jump in and fix or jump in and advise or jump in and support or and it feels almost like a hook, line, and sinker. So if you notice something and have the realization that your autopilot response is to jump in, take a moment and be like, wait a minute, how am I feeding the flames? Or how might I be poking the bear? Or how might I be perpetuating this situation by even giving it the time of day? So with the power play, the intense energy happening in your 7th house, it's an indication that it's going to be somebody close to you, a personal partner, a co-parent, an ex, a business partner, someone you see or relate to or have to interact with on some level on a somewhat regular basis, and someone who you have some sort of intimate knowledge or connection, again, personal or professional. So when you have this moment, like I said, you're going to be triggered. You're going to be tempted to jump into some sort of habitual response. And the challenge for you is going to be to take a step back and be like, wait a minute, I don't want to do this again. No. So the moon is going to be moving through your 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th houses. You're going to have what will feel like a pretty chill week, but you're going to have many moments of being like, WTF is wrong with people, man. Noticing it in your community, noticing it in partners, noticing it in, the people you deal with or whatever. So the trick is going to be, don't engage in anything that's not a healthy interaction. Give yourself permission to smile and nod and run away, whatever it takes, right? But if you participate, you're going to be feeding whatever fire that is. So consider that before jumping in. At the end of the week, the quickening in our minds and in our headspace and in the pace of our lives created by Mercury square Uranus, it's happening on Friday. It's going to be in your 7th and 10th houses. So there's going to be a sense of you're still thinking about these weird dynamics that you keep finding yourself in with people. And you're going to feel challenged to make changes in your choices or in your life path or in your career to avoid these kinds of things. It could be the kind of realization where, like, I love this job, but I can't stand the people I work with. Or, I love my life, but I am so annoyed that I am tied to this person for forever, or whatever the realization may be, right? It's about challenging yourself to look at the discomfort you tolerate in a different way. And instead of emotionally feeding into it, making peace with whatever decision you've made. If that decision is to bless and release, make peace with that. If your decision is to just hold space and not engage, make peace with that. But to emotionally fight against reality is where you might get stuck this week. So the Chiron North Node conjunction happening at the beginning of next week is going to be in your 9th house. So this week seems like a prequel as you have these realizations about how you can be a little bit more emotionally distant in a way that allows you to give less fucks, or to just not get sucked in as much, to just be like, whatever, that's you. I don't need to do this anymore. And what's happening is that it's opening up a new karmic opportunity for you to free up your headspace, to think about yourself and the world around you in a different way, to kind of, yeah, just clear out the headspace. Because, you know, a huge part of how drama and stuff ruins our lives is that we spend all of our free time thinking about it and fighting with people inside of our heads. If that was gone, think about how much inner peace you would have, right? So the challenge for you this week is to be able to acknowledge how you potentially feed the flames in a way that by next week you go, I'm not doing that anymore. Nobody's allowed to have free rent in my head. And then you give yourself the gift of inner peace. Like, it's wild. So good luck this week, Leos. Virgo sun and rising, the Mars-Pluto conjunction happening for you guys is going to be in your 6th house. It's daily routines, it's your health, it's your habits, and it's also your mental health. So there's going to be an opportunity to empower yourself in a way that faces your shadow, faces any unhealthy habits, unhealthy perspectives, and things like that. And you can make some life-changing choices this week to take new action that helps you be a healthier person. So thinking outside the box, quitting bad habits, quitting smoking, quitting drinking, quitting reading the news, whatever it takes for you to unlock from some sort of unhealthy repeating pattern, that's the power you're going to experience this week. You're also going to experience the Mars-Pluto conjunction on a physical level. You may feel like there's way too much energy in your body. You may feel like you've had 3 coffees even though you didn't drink any. So definitely this week, if you experience excessive physical energy, you're going to want to go for a run. Keep your hands busy doing something, especially if you're quitting smoking, for example. Keep your hands busy with a project, or writing, or knitting, or playing with clay. Anything at all. But your body is going to want to keep busy to channel the excess energy, so give yourself that opportunity. You're not going to have a very easy time sitting still this week. The moon is going to be moving through your 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th houses. So you might feel that electric energy inside of your body, but not necessarily emotional discord. You're going to notice emotional discord and WTF moments in partners, in friends, in the world around you, things like that, which you read on the news. So it's going to be an opportunity for you to choose not to fuel any of those fires, choose not to engage in any drama. Give yourself the gift of mental health by not engaging in other people's drama, right? And then at the end of the week, Mercury squares Uranus, creating a quickening of the mind. It's a burst of ideas. It's a burst of inspiration. And again, activating your 6th and your 9th houses. You may feel so inspired that you do the typical Virgo thing and clean the house and dust the shelves and all that sort of stuff. Definitely an indication you're going to have excessive physical energy more than anything else this week. But it could also come in the form of just an endless torrent of thoughts and inspiration. You're going to possibly benefit from meditating this week if the headspace becomes too much. Quiet the mind by meditating, quiet the mind by running or going for a swim. And all the ideas that come through, you may think to yourself, oh, I'll remember this forever, but you won't. So definitely another piece of advice for you guys is to write down all the inspiration you have. If you have new ideas, new thoughts on how to approach old problems, solution discovery, write it all down. It's going to be a really intense week of channeling a lot of energy. So use it wisely. And then at the beginning of next week, the Chiron North Node conjunction is actually going to be happening in your 8th house. So if you have negative core beliefs around money, resources, what you're allowed to have in this lifetime, concepts of earning it, concepts of worthiness, really intense karmic discovery happening especially this week and the past few weeks. And it's leading up to that Chiron North Node conjunction, which is an opportunity to release yourself from any negative core beliefs, any karmic patterns in which you felt stuck. Especially when it comes to being wounded, being flawed, feeling like you're not good enough, questions of worthiness and lovability, stuff like that. About your inherent self-worth is kind of the idea, and how that applies in various aspects of your life. It's going to be a very healing and freeing opportunity, but we are only able to heal when we take a solid look at what it is that's been holding us back. So it's kind of that double-edged sword. So give yourself permission to stress clean this week and think about all the stuff running through your head. Journal those thoughts, the dark ones too. And by next week, you're going to have a whole entire fresh perspective on your life, your patterns, your energy, and your worthiness. Believe in yourself unconditionally. Good luck, Virgos. Libra, Sun and Rising. The Mars-Pluto conjunction for you guys is going to be happening in your 5th house of creativity, play, freedom, joy. Some sort of decision or action that you have taken or you are contemplating taking is empowering you and will continue to empower you to live your life in a different way, to do things in a way that you didn't think was possible or didn't think was reasonable, taking new action to empower yourself, but at the same time achieving more free time, more playtime, more happy-go-lucky energies, and the end result being feeling like a kid again, or feeling like you woke up, or gosh, I feel 10 years younger kind of thing. So some sort of empowering decision, even if it feels, and the funny thing is empowering, can be a double-edged sword. Like, I remember when I was working as the food and beverage manager at a golf course, but I had to work like 7 days a week because I had to do scheduling, I had to do stock, I had to cover if any employees weren't there. And I remember what a relief it was to give away that power and go back to just being a regular waitress. I clock in and I clock out, and if it's my day off, it's my day off. So that's what I mean about the double-edged sword of empowerment. There's something about you empowering yourself to do things differently that gives you freedom. So it might be giving away responsibility or giving away power, but in the end you get freedom. In the end you feel better. In the end you feel lighter and more relieved. So there's some sort of funny action that you're taking right now that is helping you be happier. And as the moon moves through your 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th houses, you may find yourself questioning that action, because as the moon moves through your 6th house, you're going to have an emotional couple of days as you think about your day-to-day life, about your work situation, about your worth. When the moon moves into the 7th house, you may feel like emotional connections with people. In your 8th house, you're going to feel emotional about repeating patterns or cycles. And in the 9th house, you're going to be feeling emotional about opportunities, new ways of being, new choices, new information. So I definitely get the sense you guys are going to feel a bit rocked this week. But in the end, we can evaluate whether or not something is a good decision or a good action to take, because if we sit in peace and we imagine taking the action, feel how your body feels. Does it feel like relief? Or does it feel like, like a gut punch? And then imagine not choosing that and doing something differently. Again, sit in peace. Imagine the other way of doing something and see how your body responds. That is the easiest and simplest compass. Not overthinking, just tuning into your body's deep sense of knowing. And that'll give you the answer of whether or not it is a freeing choice or a freeing action that you are taking. You should feel relief if it is the right choice for you. And at the end of the week, Mercury squares Uranus, really bringing a quickening pace to the joy or the excitement that you're starting to feel. There might be questions about money as it squares the 8th house. There might be questions of, oh my God, is this a good idea? Or is this a good pattern? Or have I done the wrong thing? But there's a sense of like quickening happening by the end of the week where I really do feel like you start to get excited. If you've made the choice that brings relief, you're going to feel super excited by the end of the week. And if you've made the choice that actually feels like a gut punch, you're going to be panicking by the end of the week. So it's going to be completely different. And the Chiron North Node conjunction is happening in your 7th house. So this is all preceding realizations of how you have healed within your one-on-one relationships. Now, the 7th house represents business ones and personal relationships. So either interactions with bosses or co-workers or clients, and interactions with lovers, friends, close partners, anything like that. So healing opportunities, and it all has to do with either claiming your power or giving it away, depending on the situation. Really neat stuff for you guys. Scorpio, sun and rising. The Mars-Pluto conjunction, which is funny because Mars is your traditional planetary ruler and Pluto is your modern planetary ruler, and they are both conjunct in the sign of Aquarius. And for Scorpios, right here, Aquarius is a square. So there's a sense that both of your planetary rulers are hanging out with someone that you don't like, kind of thing. So there's a sense of friction. There's a sense of kind of something getting your goat, and you may be tempted to retreat. It's happening in your 4th house of your literal home or your emotional health. And so there's something happening kind of deep inside of you where you feel pissed off, and it has to do with like somebody else having power, or somebody doing something where you feel disempowered or devalued. And you're given an opportunity to fortify your own foundation of emotional health by giving less fucks. Or, you know, telling yourself whatever, like, my bestie can hang out with other people and I don't need to be jealous about it. Like, they have other friends and I have other friends too, right? Or whatever way in which you feel triggered. Like I said, it's going to activate insecurities. It's going to activate maybe feelings of unworthiness. But your emotional value system comes back to being the foundation of your health. And so you are empowering yourself to fill your own cup, to make yourself happy, to do whatever it is that you wanted to do. Now, especially this week, as that conjunction is happening on Valentine's Day, you might find yourself to be incredibly triggered. So even if you're single, even if you're in a partnership, it could be a sense of like, oh, I feel like nobody loves me, or I feel like my partner doesn't love me enough, or doesn't show that they love me enough. There's going to be some sort of a situation in which you feel really, really triggered on Valentine's Day or right around it. And it's going to come with a realization that you really need to be looking after your own emotional needs and not expecting so much out of other people. And sometimes our expectations are not the form of flowers or roses or chocolate or anything like that. Sometimes our expectation is for somebody to check in on us, somebody to reach out instead of us reaching out all the time. So whatever your expectations are, there's going to be a sense of them not being met. And then you're going to have the opportunity to think about whether or not those expectations are appropriate or reasonable given the situation. The moon is going to be moving through your 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th houses this week. So you may feel kind of all over the place. In the beginning of the week, you might feel inspired and dreamy and really stoked on life. And then in the middle of the week, kind of really get a bug in your rug and be like, kind of grumpy. And then by the end of the week, a sense of like, all right, I can see my way out of this. I can see how I could look at this situation differently or respond to this feeling that I'm feeling differently. So a bit of a roller coaster for you guys this week. At the end of the week, Mercury squares Uranus, activating your 4th and 7th houses. So really hammering home the point of your emotional health being your own responsibility. And it could be something that comes up for you this week as a reflection of your own personal discombobulation, realizing that you depend on other people for too much when it comes to meeting your emotional needs, or especially given the planetary angles at the end of the week activating your 7th houses, the other way that this week could go is you realizing that the people in your life are expecting too much of you. That maybe they're the ones that are jealous, or they're the ones that are like, you don't do enough for me. So this could go either way for sure. But the theme across the board for you and the people you interact with is about meeting your own emotional needs and having reasonable expectations for the people in your life. So however that comes through and manifests. The Chiron North Node conjunction happening at the beginning of next week, this massive healing opportunity, is activating your 6th house. And so it does have to do with your day-to-day life, what it is you do on a daily basis, who it is you interact with. It's about your habits, it's about your emotional health and your physical health. So there's some sort of sense of really like coming back to home, coming back to center and being like, okay, I need to take care of myself. You know, for example, if you want to quit smoking, but your partner smokes, instead of waiting for them to quit, being like, F that, I'm quitting now. And as part of my quitting, you are not allowed to smoke anywhere near me. So meeting your own needs, setting and enforcing emotional and healthy boundaries of any kind that help you maintain meeting your own needs, and also giving yourself permission to be a healthy level of selfish. Be like, you know what? I got to put my own mask on first. I got to take care of me right now before we even talk about me taking care of you. So yeah, healthy choices, healthy level of selfish, and taking responsibility for your own well-being. Sagittarius, sun and rising. The Mars-Pluto conjunction is going to be activating your 3rd house. That's conversations, that's communication, that's emails, that's your network, your social network, your professional network, and your close friends, maybe even siblings. So empowering yourself to speak your truth. Empowering yourself to be your authentic self within your circle of friends. There might be a moment of feeling like, or realizing that you aren't really your authentic self in all situations because you're like, oh, I can't talk about heavy stuff with that person, or I can't talk about politics with that person, or you know what I mean? And so this week kind of brings a moment where you feel like either you decide you're just going to be your authentic self no matter what, or you start to decide, okay, well, if I can't be my authentic self around that person or around that person, I'd rather not hang out with them. It really just takes too much energy, and I don't have the energy to mask all the time, or whatever the case may be. So empowering yourself in those sorts of situations, but there's also an energy of empowering yourself to toot your own horn. If you're self-employed, like activating the 3rd house, that could be with being self-employed. So deciding that you're going to promote yourself, deciding that you're going to advertise, or deciding that you're really going to like toot your own horn and be like, hey, I'm awesome at what I do. Come hire me or come work with me or whatever the case may be. So there's an energy of empowerment when it comes to how you connect with the people around you. It could be personal, it could be professional, but definitely an energy of real and raw, and not really wanting to engage with anything fake or shallow for the time being, at least. The moon's going to be moving through your 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th houses. So you're going to go through the week feeling like, okay, I'm good. Definitely don't want the weekend to end. Take you a little bit to kind of get into the momentum of the week. And by the end of the week, you're going to be like, that was a really weird week. What's up with people? But it comes at the same time as you're developing healthy boundaries. Whereas, you know, before you'd hold space for people who were just going off, and now you're like, and I'm not answering the phone this time, not doing that today. So whatever your choices are, it's empowering yourself. It's an energy of truth and authenticity. And at the end of the week, when Mercury squares Uranus, activating your 3rd and 6th houses, I feel like it's either going to be getting job interviews, it's going to be seeing that your advertising or self-promotion is paying off. It's going to be a sense that something that you created finally made you money. But it feels almost like kind of the first leg of a long journey. It feels like the breadcrumbs that you need, or, you know, the validation or the support that you need to really give you the energy to keep trying, because there's something of a marathon happening for you. But you're starting to get enough momentum that you're getting a good rhythm, that you're getting whatever it is that you're doing, setting boundaries or speaking your truth or promoting yourself. It's getting easier. You're starting to get into a good flow, maybe even developing a daily schedule in which you're like, okay, I'm going to focus on this for an hour, I'm going to do this for an hour, whatever the case may be. And as you get more comfortable with your energy, with your flow, with your patterns, with your habits, you're also starting to carve out a lot more time to be creative, to be free, to go have fun, to have a day off or an afternoon off. So I really feel like you're getting into a good rhythm, and this week is going to be helpful for that. This week is going to give you that boost of like, yeah, F having to, wear a mask around these people. I'm just going to hang out with the people where I feel authentic, or I am no longer going to apply for jobs that I really don't want to do. I'm going to apply for some awesome jobs over here, even if I feel like they're out of my league. So a big empowering shift happening for you, but it feels lighthearted, it feels joyful, and it feels inspired. So good job. Capricorn, Sun and Rising. The Mars-Pluto conjunction happening for you guys on Valentine's Day is in your second house. You, of all signs, is probably going to be the most disappointed with Valentine's Day. And it's because the second house is about tangible things. It's about values, it's about food, it's about flowers or chocolate. It's about feeling like you have evidence for something that you want, or something that you feel like you've earned, or something you feel like you deserve. It feels like an energy of having your values disappointed, but at the same time, realizing that maybe your values or your expectations were misplaced. Maybe you don't need physical evidence to show you that you are loved, that you're special, that you're worthy. The second house presents a challenge where you recognize the need for approaching something differently, but you have no idea how else to do it. So with Pluto and Mars conjunct in your second house, you want to empower yourself to have a more healthy relationship with things and stuff. You want to empower yourself to feel safe in your relationships. That could be deciding that you feel safest being single. That you feel like you could be your most authentic self when you're by yourself, when you are, the ruler of your castle. But there comes with almost like a bittersweet realization. So, you know me, I'm just going to be super, super honest because I want to prepare you. Prepare to feel disappointed, prepare to feel let down, but also prepare to have a boost of, you know what, I'm going to buy myself flowers, I'm going to take myself out to dinner, I'm going to do what I want to do because that's what makes me happy. So feeling happy to be independent, feeling happy to be self-sufficient, feeling happy to spoil yourself, and not look at Valentine's Day as the kind of day that either makes or breaks who you are as a person, right? Just detaching from the commercialism entirely. As the moon moves through your chart this week, there's going to be a sense of wanting to be by yourself, wanting to binge Netflix, or wanting to just be in your jammies and kind of hunker down. And it's an energy of self-need, self-care, and self-soothing. Especially if you're not able to co-regulate with someone else, a realization that you want to do all of the comforting rituals that really help you feel regulated. So a bit of an emotional dip for Capricorns, Sun and Risings this week. But in the end of the week, the moon is going to be in your 6th house, and you're going to feel glad that you looked after yourself. You're going to feel glad that you took that time to do self-care and maybe just turn off your phone and not interact with other people. The ways in which you reclaim your energy and take responsibility for your well-being are going to be the ways in which you get through this week in the best way possible. And with the Mercury-Uranus square happening at the end of the week, activating your 2nd and 5th houses, you may also come to realizations that your favorite people in this life are the ones that make you laugh. The favorite people in your life are the ones that you get to play games with, or feel silly with, or feel like a kid again with. And focusing on the quality of the connections that you have rather than the quantity of the connections that you have. The moments that mean more than any bouquet of flowers would ever mean. So really kind of reframing your perspective in a way that helps you reclaim your happiness, feel unconditionally worthy, and less reliant on other people to validate for you that you are loved or lovable. So a journey this week for you guys, for sure, but it's going to lead to a really good place. Aquarius, sun and rising, the Mars-Pluto conjunction happening at the very beginning of your sign is definitely going to give you an incredible boost of energy that you will quite literally feel physically. And it may be a sense that you feel more in control of your body, more in control of your life or your choices. Maybe it's just a moment of feeling like crystal clear with your awareness, like you are on point this week. This is going to be a great week for you to advocate for your needs, to stand up for something you believe in, to have a difficult conversation and not back down on your values or what it is that you want out of a situation. This is a week of feeling empowered, but the caveat is that you also need to, be mindful not to step on anybody else's toes or act as though you are a bulldozer in life, right? So there is kind of that double-edged sword of you're going to feel incredibly empowered, but with great power comes great responsibility. So please, please, please be mindful how you wield your power out there, right? Yes, stand up for your safety, for your well-being, for your rights and things like that. But be careful not to tread on other people's responsibilities or their rights or whatever, right? So empowerment with boundaries is the message for you guys this week. And the moon is going to be moving through your second, third, fourth, and fifth houses. So you're going to go in the beginning of the week feeling like pretty jazzed and pretty empowered. And then as the week progresses, you might just kind of hit a lull around Wednesday, Thursday and be like, oh my God, I don't want to do anything. So it could be the kind of thing where you like make a ton of plans in the beginning of the week. And by the end of the week, you're like, I'm not going anywhere. It's not happening. So if you have to get anything done, beginning of the week is far better. Towards the end of the week, you're going to be feeling a lot more lazy and unmotivated. Friday, Mercury, it makes a challenging but also activating square to Uranus, bringing a quickening to your mind, bringing an energy of like, okay, I have ideas, I have inspiration, I want to do all the things, but it's going to be challenging you to, it's going to be a challenge to you to think of a healthy way to use that energy. You're going to be in kind of a mood where you're not necessarily going to want to hang out with other people. The way in which this might come through is like reorganizing your house, rearranging your furniture, cleaning your house, beautifying your house, working in your gardens, something like that. There's going to be a sense that whatever you do, you want to kind of like do it for yourself, and recognizing maybe to-do lists that have been sitting undone or the dishes that were unwashed, but feeling inspired and excited to kind of get all your ducks in a row and straighten out your space. So a bit of a wild week, like inspired and like super stoked at the beginning of the week, middle of the week, no energy at all. And by the end of the week, this like electrified ADD energy that you might even not really know what to do with. And I think you would be blissed out to spend the end of the week by yourself, a happy place of inventing things and creating things and whatnot. And then at the beginning of the next week, when Chiron, the wounded healer, joins the North Node of karmic destiny, there's something where you have an opportunity to connect in a healing way through conversation, through a close friend, or through a sibling. So it could be about realizing something and wanting to share that with someone you love. It could be about a well-deserved apology or someone apologizing to you. Healing is going to come through conversation for sure. And like I said, it's going to be someone who's close to you, someone in your inner circle. So realizations this week, your own personal progress this week, and then a surprise conversation somewhere around over the weekend or maybe Monday. So really interesting stuff coming through for you guys. And last but not least, Pisces, sun and rising. The Pluto-Mars conjunction happening on Wednesday, on Valentine's Day, is activating your 12th house. So you're actually going to get through this pretty well. 12th house is that which is hidden. Okay, sorry, I'm just realizing. There's two ways that this could go. You could feel really empowered in your creative or intuitive space. You could feel like you are downloading really cool information or channeling spirit in a way that you've never channeled. But there's also a small possibility with the Mars-Pluto conjunction happening in the hidden section of your chart that hidden enemies might come through. A sense of being targeted even though you're just a random person. This is not a good week for you to go into a bad neighborhood. This is not a good week for you to challenge the laws of physics or drive erratically on the highway. This is not a good week for you to antagonize anyone or get in an argument with a stranger. It's going to feel as though there's kind of like this weird target on your back, but it can be avoided just if you're just mindful with your energy and don't take any unnecessary risks. But you are probably more inspired with your 12th house being activated. You're probably way more inspired to just stay home, hang out, bliss out, create, imagine, dream, use your tarot cards, whatever it is. But I really feel you kind of like making one or being one with the ethereal and having, you know, a really good time. This week, the moon moves through the first quarter of your chart, your first through fourth houses. So you may feel inspired to create things. You may feel inspired to cook or be crafty or have a really long chat on the phone with a really good friend of yours. And by the end of the week, you might just have this inspired, like wanting to binge on Netflix and drink hot chocolate kind of vibe. Not a high energy week for you at all. And anytime you venture out into the world or have to deal with the public, you may have moments of being like, oh my God, what is up with people right now? Because you're not really going to be on that like realm that the Mars-Pluto conjunction is bringing to other signs. Like I said, it's only going to manifest as like a hidden enemy, or maybe you're going to have a really weird bad dream or something like that. But for the most part, you yourself should feel pretty zen and feel pretty inspired this week. At the end of the week, Mars creates a square to Uranus, bringing a quickening of the mind, a storm of ideas and inspiration just kind of blowing through. So again, activating your 12th and also your third houses, you may feel inspired to reach out to your network with a new business opportunity, or wanting to collaborate with some peers or some colleagues. You may feel inspired to take this torrent of dreams and intuition and inspiration and share it, maybe on social media, maybe coffee with a friend or something like that. But definitely lots of healing opportunities coming through, and it has to do with what you create, what you manifest, and how you align your choices and your life with your ideals, with your values, with your morals. So again, if you feel triggered by people this week, or really just like targeted for some unnecessary reason this week, don't take it personally. Stick with your values, stick with your morals, and just have really strong boundaries, you know, don't engage. So yeah, that's what I've got for you guys this week. Thank you so much for being here. Please do make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. It helps me expand my reach, and it is my hope that the people who need to find this information are able to find me. So drop me a line anytime. You can also book a private reading with me from anywhere in the world at www.queenbeetarot.net. Mwah! See you next time.